It's The Local Show on News Radio 570 WSYR, a service of Geddes Federal Savings and Loan and Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now, your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to The Local Show. It's the 2023 early spring edition, and I'm your host, Tom Soccocio Jr., along with my good friend and co-host, Steve Roberts. On The Local Show, we feature conversations about local businesses. We talk with the business owners and the CEOs, the CFOs, entrepreneurs, nonprofits, basically anybody who will talk to us, we'll talk with in a business-friendly organization. We talk about how they got into business and why they do business right here in Syracuse, New York, and where their businesses might be going in the future. You will hear all about their successes, their challenges, opportunities, marketing, and advertising. We're broadcasting from the Zoey Advertising Studios, sponsored by Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts and Geddes Federal Savings and Loan. Good weekend to Steve Roberts. How are you there?
I'm doing all right, Tom. I like that we talk about business owners. Like, shh, did you see what they did? Ooh, I like that better.
Tons to talk about, right? We get the skinny.
It's true. We get the inside track.
The scoop. So, we're not too far away. Home show coming up next week, and we're going to be live there, aren't we?
Yeah, next weekend. We're going to be right there live at the home show. So
sure.
Don't expect it to be fancy. All those fun things you mix in, Tom, it'll probably be more like noise. But that's okay. We'll be there.
Yeah, I was scoping out the place because we had gone to the RV show. And that was nice.
Did you buy an RV, Tom?
No. I think I was more enamored with how they got the RVs in the exposition center.
There's the big
nose
door.
To nose, back to back.
Yeah, there's a huge, ginormous door at the end of it.
But it's got to be like a giant game of Jenga. Because it's, they are really packed in there.
Well, we did a fast forward. Brad did it last year at the Syracuse Nationals.
Of moving in the cars.
Moving in, the cars were like, and I was like, wow. So
it's amazing.
They got it figured out.
Yeah, they do. And
so you didn't make easy monthly. It's only $600 a month from Now Till Jesus Comes. You didn't sign one of those things.
Well, we're still looking at it.
He's still okay. All right.
There might be possibilities. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, great show today, so stick around. We're going to have a lot of interesting conversations. We'll start off with Lisa Romano-Moore. She's the executive director at the Onondaga Historical Association. And then Dr. Nicole Anzalone stops by, owner of Syracuse Hearing. Joe Silvani is the general manager of the Rice Box, and they might bring food. That'd be nice, huh?
That would be nice.
Michael Johnson is the owner of Pro Snow Removal. And then Vittorio Pasquarella. He's one of your people.
He's not one of my people.
One of my people.
I'm sure we'll figure out he's your cousin.
Yes, exactly. We're related somewhere. He's the vice president of Pasquarella Development and Management. He'll be here. And then Bud Laura is the owner of the Restaurant QB. John Kupperman, owner of Smith Restaurant Supply. And then Christina Farrar is the education coordinator for the New York State Maple Association. And we'll have a conversation with her about Maple Weekends, all coming up on The Local Show. Right now, we say good morning, hearty, healthy good morning to Lisa Romano-Moore. How are you?
I'm well. How are the two of you?
Hanging right
I'm better than Tom.
Oh, obviously.
Just to be clear.
Everybody's
an RV?
No. See, I don't need an RV to be better than Tom.
That's right. See, he has an internal thing where he just feels good about himself. I, however, am Italian, so
we're just always better.
Yeah. Or self-deprecating, either way. But that's me. So, Lisa, you've been the executive director for how long over at Onondaga Historical?
Since January 1st.
Great. How's it going?
Well.
Yeah. Like it?
Busy.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. What is your history? What led you to that job?
I actually was the director of development for 3 years.
Oh, okay. So you've been there, yeah.
So you asked for money.
I do ask for money.
Yeah,
you kind of have to do that in that job,
right?
That title.
That's
Otherwise,
cool.
you don't have a job.
What is the organization all about? I think one of the things that I had asked you before that I didn't realize is that it's not just one place. You have several different places.
Right. We kind of stretch the county from the Scano Great Law of Peace Center, which is the Haudenosaunee Cultural Center out on the Parkway, and the Bruseum at the other end of the county, down at the south end of the county in Pompey at Heritage Hill.
Oh, right, over at Heritage Hill. Yeah, that's kind of neat.
We're at the airport.
I love the air. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that museum, the aviation museum behind the piano and organ.
Yes.
Back in there. I love that.
Yeah, and then we're in the War Memorial. So all of those really cool costumes and pictures.
How's the French Fort coming? It's the question. It's like when we were kids, it was the French Fort.
That's how everybody remembered it.
And you would take a school bus there.
Is that where the Haudenosaunee thing is now?
Yeah,
good.
So it's basically, the French Fort was kind of not an accurate portrayal.
Correct. But it was a field trip where you could pretend you were,
you
Daniel Boone.
Yeah. And then the Scano Great Law of Peace Center is actually the Haudenosaunee perspective on that.
Okay.
So what it meant, what it was like to interact and
that's interesting.
Encounter the Jesuits, and vice versa.
When you guys bring on displays, or how do I want to say, you have tours and all that.
Yeah.
Do you have like history experts that work for the association?
We do. We have archivists and curators, and we have a curator of history, Bob Searing.
Okay.
Bob is often on the air on other networks.
Yeah, sure.
And we write. We're in the newspaper. We do social media. So we have the chops. We have people who are trained and have academic credentials in history and archiving.
I see.
We have millions of pieces.
So it's
in our
accurate.
collection.
You're not making stuff up.
Yeah.
No.
Just when she's on the show.
No, but feel free to check.
So what's new that's old?
What's new that's old? We have a really cool project that we're doing with the city schools this spring. And, younger kids don't necessarily know that why we're called the Salt City. They don't know that there were salt sheds in the inner, what is kind of now the Inner Harbor and where the fairgrounds are.
Yeah.
So all of the fourth graders in the city school district are going to learn about the salt making history here. And they're going to do so in a couple of different ways. They are going to visit the Syracuse Salt Company.
Do you know we know a little about that?
That's why I brought it up.
There we go.
I didn't find this out until last time, and I was already done with my interview.
Lori here from our office, her brother, that's her brother's company.
Right. Yeah.
And their salt is...
It's really very good and healthy.
It's very healthy.
Thank you. I didn't know where to go.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and it's produced from a brine well that has been here for probably centuries. Yeah,
isn't that incredible?
Yeah. So the kids are going to tour the Syracuse Salt Company, and they're going to tour the Salt Museum. But the other half of this project is that in the classroom, they're going to learn about the history of salt making. How the immigrants came here and worked with the salt and how that happened. And they're going to learn how it was made. A lot of people don't really know how salt is made. We have salt. So they're going to learn about the evaporation method because Syracuse Salt is going to provide some brine. And the kids are going to have a 7-day project where they experience the evaporation method of salt. They're going to have little salt beds.
What people don't know is prior to refrigeration,
that's how you stored stuff.
That was how you stored things.
Yeah.
It was salt.
Yeah.
And they don't realize that because before, we had a refrigerator.
Sure.
Yeah. It contributed to our success in the Civil War.
Yeah.
Being able to control that commodity really helped us.
That's a lot of history right here. Yeah. Hey, what sources of funding does the Onondaga Historical Association rely on?
We have a membership. We have about 1,200 members. We do special events a couple times a year. We have our OHA medal ceremony coming up in May. And we do a project called National History Day, which our donors and members support. It's a high school level competition of Central New York high schools. And It's coming up on March 18th. We thank our friends at OCM BOCES for hosting the kids.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good.
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like you got a lot going on. We'll get people out to enjoy the history of our area.
Come see us.
Definitely. Lisa Romano Moore, right there, Executive Director of the Onondaga Historical Association. Thank you so much for stopping by, and you have a great rest of the day, okay?
You too as well. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Coming up next, we're going to talk with Dr. Nicole Anzalone, audiologist and owner of Syracuse Hearing Solutions, right here on The Local Show on 570 WSYR.
Welcome back to The Local Show, a service of Gettys Federal Savings and Loan and Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show, locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now, here are your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Back at it again. You've got The Local Show with Tom and Steve right here on 570 WSYR, also on 106.9 FM, and you can see us online on YouTube. Just go and look up Zoey, Z-O-E-Y, Advertising on YouTube, and you'll find the channel and see all the video and behind the scenes. We're broadcasting from the Gettys Federal Savings and Loan Studios and Safe Harbor Wills and Trust Studios. So tell me a little bit about Gettys Federal, because I know that even though there is maybe some inventory restriction, that people are buying houses.
People are buying houses. I'm not one of them, Tom, just to be
I
clear.
know that. Yes.
I don't want a house right now, but boy, they are. And the rates, when you think about it, compared to when you and I bought our first house,
Yeah.
the rates are still pretty decent. You know,
They are.
Comparatively. We got used to nothing rates, so.
Right.
But a lot of people are buying houses. A lot of people are pre-qualifying over at Gettys. And then now here, the home show next weekend, Tom, we mentioned we're broadcasting. You got equity in your home. You're going to put a kitchen in or a pool, or you're going to do something. Borrow off of that. It's a better deal.
Yep.
You got it. It's very simple. So people are doing that too over at Gettys right here in town, getting the money. And then there's, of course, other folks that are saying, hey, I don't want to put that in the market right now. And they're putting some of their savings in a certificate of deposit, getting a decent rate.
Sure.
And there's no risk to it, which feels good for people. So
And since Gettys holds all of their paper in-house,
It's right.
They can get really low on really high on those rates.
Yeah, well, you think about
and
it.
low on the other rates.
But it's both ways, right?
Yeah.
You know, so right here in town, GettysFederalSavingsAndLoan.com, Tom.
There you go. Dr. Nicole Anzalone. She is a doctor of audiology and the owner of Syracuse Hearing Solutions. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Tom. How are you doing?
Very good. I have been hearing the team talk about you and ear lids, and I don't know what an ear lid is.
Sounds like something you'd have to have removed, sir.
Let's talk about your lids.
It's a name that I came up with. I thought it was clever.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not that clever. I don't know.
You are.
But we make our own custom hearing protection.
Okay.
It's nice because, everyone has different shaped ears, and sometimes your earbuds or hearing protection doesn't fit well, and you don't want to wear the big earmuffs over your ears that make your ears all sweaty.
Sure.
So these are nice because they're made specifically for each ear. They fit well. They make a good seal. You can use them for multiple purposes, like using power tools, or when you're around a lot of noise, concerts even.
Okay.
So you had me at sweaty ears. So it's an earplug.
Yeah.
So how is it different? Why would I want that and not go to Kinney and for I could buy a package of earplugs?
Those ugly fluorescent orange
I could buy
ones.
100 of them for $5.
Those things that never fit.
Yeah,
they always
I see,
fall out, and they don't
yeah.
make a good seal. So if it's not making a good seal, you could get sound and noise leaking in, and then it's not serving its purpose
Are
to
they
protect your
waterproof?
hearing. Yeah, they are. And we have some that float, so you can even use them for swimming. So if someone's worried about getting swimmer's ear or ear infections, you could use them for swimming. And if you take them out and accidentally drop them in the water, they'll float. So you'll be able to find them.
Talk about the ones that are earplugs, but you can still hear music through. Because you were talking about that. We were chatting last week. So you can hear some things, but can't hear others?
Yeah, so actually I made a lot of different sets for myself in different colors and glitter and everything, but you could use them, I use them for drumming. So what's nice about the filtered ones is it allows speech concentration. So if you're trying to listen to a singer, if you're trying to talk to people that you need to get, give and take instructions to while you're trying to protect your hearing, that's what it's good for. So you could hear, but it just attenuates or turns down some of the annoying noises.
Do you have to get that fitted by you and custom made? Is that the process?
Yeah, and it's not a long process. Basically, we take an ear mold impression and then we could custom build it to your needs. And like I said, whatever color and everything.
So what you said is, so you can tune it in. So you could make one that records Tom's frequency of his voice, and it could filter just that.
I'm working on that.
Filter it out or something.
Yeah.
What's really cool about that too is that sometimes you don't need music in the ear to concentrate. Sometimes you want to just block things out, and you can be alone with yourself. So some people like to do that, and you'll see people who will wear like the big construction headphones. But here's a way to do it stylish. And even in the gym, sometimes when I go to the gym, it's not that I really don't want to listen to music. I just kind of want to be alone with my thoughts and concentrating. So you could use those in the gym to kind of attenuate out all the stuff, all the noise.
Yeah, take the edge off of the sounds around you, especially if there's really annoying sounds around you.
Right.
Also for sleeping. So if you have someone who snores.
Yes.
Next
and
to
my
you.
wife, I should get my wife a couple. She'd really enjoy
It'd be
that.
a nice birthday present.
Yeah.
She used the word "enjaffa." That was very good. What is that? What'd you say?
No. She didn't say that.
I thought I heard the word "enjaffa" there. Like,
You need hearing aids.
well, you know what? Maybe.
I saw a couple of people at the actually we were talking about the RV show, right? So I was talking to some of the reps there, and guys had to be around my age or so, and they had hearing aids in.
Sure.
And I don't think I've noticed people with hearing aids in a while, but these were big hearing aids, and I thought, the first thought in my head was, boy, they should go see Dr. Anzalone, because they could probably get a more stylish, more functional hearing aid. Tell us a little bit about the hearing aids currently and how tiny they are and what their capabilities are.
Yeah, so we have all sorts of different styles of hearing aids. They're really small now. I mean, everything is miniaturized. Even the ones behind your ear, you won't even notice.
Wow.
Ours anyway. There's some that go in the ear that are completely invisible, that you keep in your ear for 2 months at a time, like a disposable contact lens of hearing aids, if you would say. Yeah. So we have all sorts of good stuff that you wouldn't even notice, and people notice that you're hearing them, and that's more noticeable to someone else than these hearing aids.
So what about the order before midnight tomorrow, 1995? Hear like you've never heard before. Commercials that are running. What are those all about?
Yeah. So. Everyone talks about this new category of over-the-counter hearing aids, OTC hearing aids, and they're not really new. They're just kind of a new classification that the government said is available. They've been around forever. They've been in Walmart. They've been in pharmacies. They're usually larger. They're pretty much amplifiers. They're not set. They're not programmed for your hearing loss. They're not prescribed to your hearing loss. I mean, I recommend seeing a professional, because a professional knows what your hearing loss is like and knows how to fit and make sure you have the appropriate amount of sound, rather than these devices that don't fit very well, actually.
I remember TV ears back in the
I do too.
When infomercials were just starting.
Nicole, she was in third grade when those came out.
Now you can listen through to television through your hearing aids. So we have Bluetooth hearing aids. So you don't have to wear these big clunky headphones to listen to the TV. You just wear your hearing aids, press a button to switch into a TV mode, and then you can hear the television.
Do you find that a lot of elderly people solve their balance problems by getting their ears checked and maybe solving the ear problem?
Well, there is part of your ear that controls your balance and part that controls hearing. So sometimes people who are dizzy, it could be due to their inner ear. Your ear is your center of gravity, basically. So if someone's dizzy, they should get their ears checked. And we actually do balance testing as well to see if their dizziness is due to their inner ear.
Yeah.
So that's something else that we could do.
Does tinnitus have anything to do with that, or is that a different animal?
Tinnitus does. So that ringing, buzzing, hissing in your ears, when it's constant and persistent, 90% of the time, there may be some sort of hearing loss. It could be due to wax, impacted wax in the ear, all sorts of reasons, fluid in the ear. But we like to check that out to make sure and see what we could do.
Is it true you offer a wax enema?
An ear spa.
Okay.
Yes.
That sounds more pleasant.
It probably won't catch on with other.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to call it that. But we do ear cleanings for you.
Well, there you go. That's Dr. Nicole Anzalone. She's an audiologist and the owner of Syracuse Hearing Solutions. Go visit her and her team today. Thank you so much, and you have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. You too.
Okay. Joe Silvani is coming up next. He's the general manager of the Rice Box, a new Chinese restaurant that has authentic Chinese food up on James Street. So we'll be talking with him next on The Local Show on 570 WSYR.
Welcome back to The Local Show, a service of Gettys Federal Savings and Loan and Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show, locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now, here are your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Welcome back and welcome in. Thank you for spending some quality time with us here on the weekend with Tom and Steve. I'm the creative director at Zoey Advertising, Tom Soccocio Jr., but you can call me Tom. And then Steve Roberts is the owner of Zoey Advertising, and we do this little thing called The Local Show where we talk and champion local businesses.
There's food here, Tom.
To them. And there's food on this particular segment.
Tom, there's food.
This particular segment's got the food. So go check it out on YouTube because you can see everything behind the scenes on the YouTube channel. We're going to be talking with Joe Silvani, who is the general manager of the Rice Box, and then owner of the Rice Box, Dan Fang, is here as well. RiceboxRestaurant.com. You can go online and check out their whole menu, RiceboxRestaurant.com. Joe, how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Last time we saw you, you were doing a little ice cream action and had a place.
Yes, sir.
And now you've made a transition to something new. Tell people about your background and how you got involved with Rice Box.
Sure. So clearly, I owned an ice cream stand, but I have a dear friend at church, Mr. Dan Fang, and we had some opportunities come up. Of course, I shared last time, food is my ultimate favorite and passion. So we had some opportunities, and we're partnering up together and eating some amazing Chinese cuisine.
Yeah,
so
that's excellent.
What am I eating?
What's Steve eating?
Okay, so you've got curry chicken, some homemade fried rice, and it looks like, some General Tso's chicken.
Curry chicken, my favorite Asian, my favorite.
Awesome.
Either Indian or Chinese favorite.
Yes.
Yes. That's nice.
So good.
It's the best I've ever tasted. I got to be honest with you. I only know how to be honest. Most.
No, Tom doesn't have a filter, so if he doesn't like it, you probably won't like the show. Why? Why did you partner? How did that happen?
So honestly, we go to church together on Sundays, and through some friendship, there was an opportunity for me to come on board. It actually started off with mowing some lawns, and it just grew from there. Dan's an amazing guy and offered me some opportunities to grow in my own life, but as well with opportunities to grow some projects, and the Rice Box was one of them.
Excellent.
And I took it head on and super excited. It's amazing food, and that's right up my alley.
So, Dan, why'd you drag this guy in?
I couldn't say no. We were just talking one day, and one thing led to another, and it actually did start around the food because as I got to know Joe, I got to understand from his background there were ways and opportunities that I happened to be looking at the same time, and it just seemed like a natural fit. One thing led to another. Sure. We kept talking, and talking turned into working, and working turned into food.
So tell us a little bit about your history and how you came to, be cooking Chinese food here in America.
The short version of the story, actually, the Rice Box idea, I still have to go back to my father's legacy. Mm-hmm. His goal was always helping people understand each other. There's a cultural component to internationals living and thriving in the United States. And he always had a very strong sense or a feeling that food is something that is a way to bring people together.
Yes.
Meetings were always done over food. Conversations were always done over food. It gives you an openness and an honesty that when you're meeting face to face, and it just allows you to be a little freer.
I'll step out. It's a biblical principle. Right?
It is.
People
It is.
come together in a different way than a business meeting. Hi.
Right.
When there's food and there's relationship,
Right.
There's communication at a much higher and deeper level.
Right.
Is that fair?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what. And Steve, you've been around. You've done missionary work, and been down to Sri Lanka and everything
been to a few
like that.
places,
You've been, and the same thing there, right? Where it kind of crosses cultural boundaries.
Absolutely. We had dinner this last Saturday with a couple that we know from India, and we spent some months with
Amazing.
them, weeks with them. Several years ago is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And she made chicken curry.
Wow.
I was like, oh, we brought chili. How would you?
Yeah,
she
right.
had curry. I was like, I'll skip it. Can I have some more of that? And it was just amazing. And you build relationships around those things.
Right.
So is the restaurant a sit down, or is it a takeout, or how does it work?
Today we're takeout only.
Okay. Okay. And where's it located if they were to go take it out?
The corner of James Street and Catherine Street.
So James Street. So I'm only going up to 2 or 3 blocks from the bottom there. Whatever it is.
Yep.
Up. Is it on the right? It's on the right.
It's on the right side.
Okay. When are you open, and how do people try some of this amazing food? How's it work?
Right now we're only open for lunch.
Okay.
So you got to get us either on the website or on DoorDash or Grubhub.
Okay.
Between 10 and 2.
Wow. Tom, you all right over there? You're smiling.
doing good, yeah.
Tom
Very
is. Okay.
I was happy.
Okay. What are some of the most popular dishes?
My favorite is the orange beef. It's a delicious slice of beef. It's marinated, it's tender, but it's got hints of citrus in it. It's so good, creamy. It's delicious.
Yeah, YouTube viewers would watch Joe smile when he talked about the orange beef. I'm glad he had his teeth cleaned. He shined up. So you really like that personally?
I just love all of the food that we offer. It is food in general, but this is amazing.
So is rice? Are there different? Talk to me about rice for a second, because sometimes rice seems great, and sometimes it seems like a wet package of white something that isn't all that special.
I'm gonna give you a long answer.
Okay.
So the long answer is it has a lot to do with how it's prepared.
Okay.
The chef that we're working with, he's classically trained from Hong Kong. He's actually been in Syracuse for a while. You may have eaten his food before. Okay. He spent a little time at the Hunan Empire up in Mattydale.
That was very good too. Yeah.
He spent a little time at the Golden Peach when it was open in Liverpool.
Okay.
He spent a little time at the China Cafe in Manlius. And he actually did Bamboo Garden in Cicero too.
Okay.
So he's been around. He's been working with us for going on 13 years, 12, 13 years now.
Okay.
Right.
And I think what you're talking about is there's kind of a passion for the food that you have to have. And we're working with one of those chefs that has that. Mm-hmm. So yes, not all rice is the same.
So riceboxrestaurant.com is the info.
Yes.
And if they want to call Monday to Friday, what days do you open?
Monday to Friday.
So great business lunch, or pick it up, or whatever, take out at 214-3710.
Correct.
Okay, so last thing, why your restaurant? There's a lot of Asian restaurants. Why would someone step over to you folks?
I would say it's unique, and it does, just like Dan was saying, it comes back from the passion of the chef. The passion and the expertise of our chef pours right into our plate. And when you eat his food, it's very clear that you're getting something a little bit different, it's just so delicious. Mm-hmm. And it's prepared well, fresh ingredients, and you can tell the chef put his all into it. And it stands out.
So it's like a fine restaurant, takeout, available for lunch.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And do you have other people? You have your family working there as well, or is it just you two and the chef?
We have 2 employees that help us with DoorDash and Grubhub. Of course, we're just starting out. This is kind of brand new to us in this capacity.
Yeah.
And we have two runners the food will get prepared, bagged up, and a DoorDasher will come to our front door, and we're running back and forth. So we've got a couple of runners. They work great. They're passionate about Chinese food as well. So it's a great combination.
So the best Chinese food we've had in a long time.
Yeah, I got to be honest.
Rice Box Restaurant helps support this local business. That's what the show's about. They're starting up riceboxrestaurant.com and 214-7310. Go get some food, Tom.
Yeah, that's right. And that's Daniel Fang and Joe Silvani. Thank you guys, both of you.
Thank you
Or should I say, Shia.
Xie.
Oh, yeah, there we go. All right. Coming up next, we're going to talk with Michael Johnson, the owner of Pro Snow Removal and Landscaping, right here on the local show on 570 WSYR.
Welcome back to The Local Show, a service of Gettys Federal Savings and Loan and Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show, locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now, here are your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Welcome back and welcome in. You've got the Local Show pre-spring edition. Not too far away.
Yay! Free spring!
Yeah, I'm still waiting for one of those warmer days to come.
Well, we've had a few, and then they, like you said a few weeks ago, it's like you get one and it's a head fake.
Oh, it really is.
Boom, there
you
it
get
goes.
so excited, and it's like, hey, you start looking at the yard and thinking, I want to do this and this and this, and everyone gets excited.
And I'm
about
always
that.
feeling April 1st, I can trout fish.
Sure.
So, and you can fish different times of year, different places, but.
Right.
But I'm always disappointed because it's always yes, 1 to 3 inches of stuff. Forget that.
I know. Like I told you, I remember going over to Green Lakes on an opening day. It must have been in my early 20s, and we had to break the ice away.
Yeah.
Just to cast a line in.
Did you catch anything?
No.
Never. They're there. But they stock it, but I've never caught them.
I never catch anything. I don't know. I'm just bad luck all the way around.
Yeah, maybe you're just a poor fisherman.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. A poor fisherman.
Yeah.
So here's a guy who will get your lawn ready and get your outside looking beautiful. His name is Michael Johnson, and he's the owner of Pro Snow Removal. And can I say Pro Snow Removal and Landscaping?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Can we say that name's confusing? Can we say that?
Yeah.
Okay, we just did.
Yeah.
Because you do an extraordinarily large amount of landscaping, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll custom outdoor living stuff, the front of your house, the back of your house, making it look good. But, this company was built on snow removal, and then it just evolved. So,
Sure.
Absolutely. But
Your snow removal is a lot of commercial stuff, though, right? You're not really into the residential as much.
Yeah, so we have a local residential base that, that we take care of, main clients, and then but the bulk revenue of it is commercial.
Gotcha. Now, as far as the landscaping's concerned and this outdoor, let's call it outdoor living space. I think
I like that.
Landscaping is a little misleading, right?
It makes you feel like you're running the weed eater.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not what he does. He actually makes it, so you want to be outside around your house. Are there pictures online?
Absolutely, yeah. We're on all the social media channels, Facebook, Instagram. We have a website, goprosnow.com, and we have a YouTube channel, which is where we get a lot of our, live action, so to speak.
Okay.
People check out our YouTube and they're like, holy goodness, why is it called Pro Snow Removal?
You could do something about that. Just saying.
Yeah, for no less than $10,000, we can change that name for you. But seriously, on YouTube, if you go over to YouTube and you go to ZoeyAdvertising.com, you'll be able to see us have this conversation right now. But also, when they're on YouTube, do they just go to Go Pro Snow?
So
search that, or
so as you know, with YouTube, to have a custom URL,
yes,
you have to have at least 1,000 subscribers.
Right.
So we're not quite there yet. So the URL is basically your license, your social, and maybe an IP address all combined in one. Right. So the best way to get to our YouTube is you can go to YouTube, you can type in Hardscape Hustle, which is the name of our series on there.
Okay.
And Hardscape Hustle, GoPro Snow, and we should pop right up. Or you can find it right from our Facebook page or Instagram.
Yeah. Be specific. Tell us what what's your happy place in the outdoor space? Tell me what you do.
I mean, honestly, for me, and it gets so more pronounced as my business keeps maturing, but it's peace of mind for our client. So from the moment I meet the customer, okay, and I ask them questions and I think about what it is that they really want at their house and what they really need and how can I make it low maintenance. That's a huge thing. Everybody says that we want no maintenance. Well, there's no such thing as no maintenance. You know, we talked about this before, but we can give you low maintenance, we can give you elegance, and give you something that's basically bringing your extravagant inside of your home to your outside that's weather friendly. You know, that you can relax and you can have friends and family over. So for me, it's peace of mind. How do I give that peace of mind? I give that peace of mind by only having one crew. Okay, one crew which involves me and a few other of my guys. Okay, I can guarantee the same amount of quality on each job. If I have a job, or excuse me, if I have multiple crews, I can't guarantee that each crew is going to have the same quality. So when I sell a project, when I design a project, I'm guaranteeing that quality is going to be perfect for that job. Because
Tell me about a project. Be specific.
Okay, so we had a project. I'll just throw this one out here. Last year in North Syracuse. Okay. Pretty basic neighborhood, okay? Nothing crazy going on.
Right.
This whole house has just been, it just took over. The lawn, the weeds. They have a nice above ground pool, but they have no patio space, okay? Their dog's chewing up the yard. We came in there, okay, and this customer was ready to make a life change. And that life change was we were going to work on all four sides of this home. We were going to give them a patio from their back of their house to their pool, a deck around their pool. We were going to give them a brand new she shed for the wife. We were going to give them a new front porch, front walkway,
right.
Okay? And then we also had resourceful contacts and we hooked them up with a really good paving company for their driveway, a really good gutter company for their roof. You know, now they have this immaculate space that's hardscape pavers with a combination of a hybrid deck, or like a PVC deck,
right.
Okay? That they're never going to really have to power wash. They're never going to have to stain. It's not going to split, crack, warp, expand, contract. Same thing with their patio, you know? And now they don't have to do anything. Now they can actually enjoy time with their kids.
Right.
You know, because they're both full-time workers.
Where's that idea come from? So you say, we can do everything, and now you just described some of the things. So who comes up with the concept? You? Somebody? Are they saying, I want to do something special?
Yeah, so a lot of times these clients, they have no idea what they want. Yeah. They have very little knowledge about the products, materials, and installation practices. I explain it all to them. I'm like their teacher.
Right.
Okay. The best customer is a educated customer. So I educate them and I explain to them the different products and materials and what makes them unique and you know, the best in the business.
Right.
Okay. And then I just look at their space. I talk to them and see what their wants and their needs are. And then I automatically have a vision pop in my head and I put it on a computer program to show them a 3D rendering.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Of them.
Yeah.
It's a video. It's them walking through their new space so they can see exactly what it's going to be like.
Yeah, I like that.
And then we have a plan. You know what's the best part about having a plan?
What?
No change orders.
That's true.
Right, yeah.
That's true. Don't make it up as you go along.
Exactly. You know? So, I mean, that's what it comes down to. And it builds such great relationships. I've met some really good people through my business that we continue to pass each other in public or communicate online.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm a family-oriented guy. Sure. The reason this business is a family business, hopefully my kids can run it someday. Mm-hmm. And that's how I treat my customer, like their family.
Tom, if you were to dream about your yard, you've got a nice home out there in Cicero. What would you do?
Well, you know, and that's a great point because my wife and I were discussing that the other day, and we don't know. You know, we have some ideas, but a guy like Michael here would be wonderful to have in the backyard and saying, okay, well, what are your objectives? Because he's going to draw out by questioning you properly, asking the right questions, right? Like we do in this business, right?
Right, and like you do as a professional DJ.
Oh, yeah, right? That too, yeah.
30 years ago when I was photographing weddings, like we want pictures. Well, how about this and this? And you take the lead.
Right,
and that's what you're talking about. You take the lead and help people get what they don't even know that they want, but they are dreaming.
100%.
Because there might be stuff that we don't understand, and Michael might say, well, geez, did you ever think you need it to be this far away from the house, and you don't want to, and we should build this up so that you don't get water, in your basement, and so on and so forth. So that is great that you provide that service.
So,
are you still taking on new customers for the
absolutely
season here?
I mean, you just heard my phone vibrate. It's nonstop right now.
Okay.
So now's the time.
Hop on.
Is the 663-6378, is that a good number?
Yep, you can call or text.
663-6378. And you mentioned GoPro Snow earlier.
Yep.
GoProSnow.com so that people can see some pictures and
Absolutely.
things like that. Excellent. Michael Johnson, thank you so much. And you have a great rest of the day. We'll get people out your way.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Excellent. All right, stick around. Hour number 2 is coming up at the local show. We'll have conversations with Vittorio Pasquarella, who is the Vice President of Pasquarella Development and Management. Bud Laura stops by, owner of Restaurant QB. John Kupperman, owner of Smith Restaurant Supply. And then Christina Farrar is the education coordinator for New York State Maple, and she will be here as well. Stick around. Hour number 2 starts really soon.
It's The Local Show on News Radio 570 WSYR, a service of Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts and Geddes Federal Savings and Loan. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now, your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Back into it. Back at it. And you've got The Local Show, the last bastion of really good talk radio on the weekends.
If you say so, Tom.
That's right. It's hour number 2, Steve. So lock in and get ready for some engaging interviews with Vittorio Pasquarella. He is the Vice President of Pasquarella Development and Management. Bud Laura stops by. He's the owner of Restaurant QB. John Kupperman is the owner of Smith Restaurant Supply. And Christina Farrar is the education coordinator for New York State Maple Association. We'll find out all about Maple Weekends, which is just around the corner.
Coming up, pretty sweet.
We're broadcasting from the Zoey Advertising Studio, sponsored by Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts and Geddes Federal Savings and Loan. We're also on YouTube if you want to peek behind the curtain and see what everybody looks like, and if Steve picks his nose and all that. So.
Zoey Advertising on YouTube.
Great.
I think they signed us a different number on that, Tom. There was a number
3809.
Yeah, I think it changed. I think it might have changed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was looking.
I should know that.
And I saw something different. So if you go to Zoey Advertising, you can see it all and other stuff that Zoey does and different things. But you can get a good look at Tom and say, "Wow, I listen to this guy."
Yeah. Well, right now it's our pleasure to bring on Vittorio Pasquarella. He's the Vice President of Pasquarella Development and Management. Now, Vittorio, isn't that, don't we call you Vito?
Vito's good. Thank you for having me, by the way.
Sure.
Is that an Irish name?
Yeah, a little bit. So I usually give out the name Vito because Vittorio is too many syllables for most people to pronounce. But you nailed it.
Good.
You nailed it.
Well, that's I thought it might be Vito. So anyway, Vito, what's your story, man? What do you do, and why are you here?
A whole lot of nothing lately. Just work.
Yeah.
We recently acquired the Willenbaumer Candle Factory right off of Onondaga Lake Parkway, and it's been engulfing most of our time for probably the last 3 years leading up to this. A lot of preparation and a lot of construction.
Now you're not old enough. You're not old enough to remember, but I remember driving by there when it was active. And,
I do.
It was really cool looking.
And if we came down from, I grew up in Cicero.
Yeah.
There were no Italians in Cicero. When I came down from Cicero, I would look for the candle, the smokestack with the candle. Right. I would look for that because I thought that's
the
so
landmark. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Funny. You saved it, right? Still there?
Yeah. That the previous owner was pretty close to knocking it down, and what a catastrophe it would have been. But it's I start out by telling everybody everything that I can about the project, and I don't even know if half the time people listen to what I'm saying. They just kind of zone into that candlestack and ask me what's going to happen with it. But we have a couple interesting ideas that we're floating around. Cool. Not there yet.
So what are you? Well, like what is your company, and how did you get involved with that?
So we're a property management / construction company. My father started out as a contractor some 30 years ago now. Mm-hmm. My mother was a hairdresser, had a shop down on East Division Street. He renovated it, and there were 3 rental units up top. And little by little, the construction company turned into a property management company. Acquisitions took place, remodels, and we're kind of coming back to our roots where we were at 30 years ago, getting more into the construction end and kind of developing our own units as opposed to buying up older units and rehabilitating them. This is sort of a rehabilitation on steroids. If you will.
So you look at this old factory, probably has environmental issues, been around forever. And you go,
It looks like a huge undertaking.
You know what? And who
huge.
had the vision to make that into apartments? And you'll tell us about
tell
where
us
you're
what
going.
it's
Tell us
going
what's
to
going
do.
to be.
Yeah, what's going to be?
So we're looking at about 175 apartments.
Wow.
In total. 2 new buildings. There's going to be a brewery that we hope to open up this spring.
Nice.
So we have a good team of brewers that we brought on board as good collective partners, and we have some exciting things. That's actually where the brewery is going to be located. Is we call it the Boiler House.
Okay.
So every building sort of has its own story, and that's the way we're going to approach it. That first iconic brick building,
Right.
we refer to that as the mansion. And then the big concrete structure next door to it, we refer to that as the factory.
Okay.
So, I mean, the site's a lot bigger than what it looks like from the road. And,
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people have gone into it.
No, it's a 13-acre site. And to answer your previous question, as far as where all these ideas come from, collectively with the team that we have, I'd like to take credit for everything. And I can't do that. We're a family-owned and operated business, and mother, brother, father, aunts, uncles,
Right.
and everybody that works with us, we kind of look at as family. We have a great team of people helping us out.
So climb inside. What are the apartments going to be like?
Awesome.
Really?
Tell me more.
So that first building, they're 13-foot ceilings, concrete deck, exposed ductwork, sort of industrial feel. Very, very efficient units. You're going to have your in-house laundry right inside your apartment. You're going to have underground parking, covered parking. Each tenant's going to get one of those included with their fees. You're going to have your electricity included. You're going to have your heat included. You're going to have your internet included.
How about safety?
Safety, security. Yep, included. Safety included. Yeah, that's right. And
It's going to be
there's a
secure.
trash service. Yeah, there's a trash service right inside the building.
Nice.
To go outside in the middle of winter to drop your trash off. We come in. We go to a centrally located room on each floor, pick up the trash, drop it off at the trash chute for you.
Fitness center?
Fitness center will be later on down the road.
Okay.
So that's one of the mixed use elements that we're planning on implementing as a fitness center.
Right. Will it be cost prohibitive?
It sounds expensive.
Yeah, it sounds expensive.
Not at all. Once you add up the cost of your rent and you include your utilities and your internet and your laundry and your underground parking, I think we're going to be very competitive in this market.
It's a wonderful location. And I said that to the wife the other day because she had mentioned that was going to be rehabilitated, not knowing that I was going to do this interview.
Yeah. No, it really is. It's central
location.
to everything.
Yeah,
it's downtown living in the suburbs, if you think of it like
Yeah.
that. I mean, and that's the feel. Once that brewery goes up and the new building in front of the site goes up, you're going to be in your own little gated community. Will Barber's Urban Villages is kind of what we've been floating.
Yeah.
And it really is. It's like an urban setting in the middle of the suburbs.
What's the timeline for these things?
This summer, we're hoping to get the first units up and running, 20 units.
Okay. Will you have to change the traffic pattern at all in the road? Did you have to work with the town?
We're looking into that. We have plans to get another access further on down Park Street. Right now, we can be operational with what we have.
You got,
yeah. In the later phases, we're going to get another access point opened.
Sure.
God willing, later on this year.
And you are able to get off there. You come around the corner.
Yeah.
It's kind of wide. It isn't.
Right.
It's not that bad.
And if you started off over by 7th North, you could even come down.
Correct.
You can.
The road.
It was challenging to find a solution to get into the site, but we think we got it nailed down pretty good once the full plans are implemented. So,
and there's a lot of trees over there too, so you can still give it that park-like feel.
Oh yeah, there's going to be a big courtyard that we're gonna add more trees in towards the perimeter of the property. So you really feel.
Boy, Steve, that could be. That has your name written all over it,
right? We live in an apartment up northern Onondaga County.
Yeah.
We scaled down from the house, and when we went looking, there were different things, and I have a garage, and I can pull all the things you mentioned are important.
Right. Well, at brewery, he had me at brewery.
Because I want it to be simple. I want it to be simple, and what I heard you saying is, it's going to be really nice, but a simple place to live.
Yeah.
And is the website pdm-llc.com?
Yeah, that's our main website. Once we get closer to being operational with this property, we're going to set up another sister website.
And if someone wanted information or looking ahead, the 457-1305?
Absolutely.
So write that down, 457-1305, and you can get information about, if someone has a lease expiring in the fall, hey, what would it be and what are you going to have? They can have that conversation.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, and thank you to your family as well for putting this kind of a project together in our community. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us, and I appreciate the kind words.
Excellent.
And we love it.
Okay. Bud Laura's coming up next. He's the owner of Restaurant QB. We'll find out all about his business on The Local Show on 570 WSYR.
Welcome back to The Local Show, a service of Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts and Geddes Federal Savings and Loan. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show, locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now, here are your hosts, Tom and Steve.
It's a local party on your local show right here on 570 WSYR, 106.9 FM, and of course, you can see us on YouTube if you can get past all the crap. I spend about the first five minutes every time I open up YouTube saying, don't recommend, stop, not interested, don't recommend, report as spam. And I'm clicking all the buttons.
There's a bunch of that.
Until I get down to what I like.
I have my subscribing list, the ones I subscribe to. If they have a little dot, it means there's something fresh there.
Yeah, exactly.
So I will look through those. Always peek at the Zoey channel. How's it looking? Good. We're gaining likes. We're gaining 1 or 2 a day. It's growing.
I tried to send you a bunch of girls in yoga pants.
Oh my gosh, with the girls
and the stretching exercises. No. Just because I wanted them propagating on your.
I'm thankful those
YouTube
haven't arrived.
well.
I have been getting a lot of golf tips and things. I wonder why. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah,
it's the same reason you get girls in yoga pants. So
I clicked on one video on one, and now I get served up all the time. So anyway, I was interested to see how she, the spinal elongation and everything.
Yeah, just stop.
Yes,
now.
Okay. It's our pleasure to bring back Bud Laura right now. He's the owner of Restaurant QB, restaurantqb.net. You can see him online there. How are you there, Bud?
Good. Thank you guys for inviting me in. This is great.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate that.
The new location's beautiful here, so that's great.
Well, thank you so much. That's all Steve's doing. He decorated. And
I have people, Tom. I have people. The studio we're in here was actually 2 offices.
Oh, yeah.
And we talked about, we weren't sure where we were going to put Tom's studio, and it made the most sense to put it, to take the wall out and set it up.
Can you even imagine if the wall was still here? I can't even visualize it now.
But Len Montreal and the folks that own this building.
Len's a great guy. He's an awesome guy.
And their construction crew.
Amazing, yeah.
It's amazing. They give construction crews a good name, and most of them don't deserve it. But they were great in the facility, and we've been real happy.
Sure.
The neighbors are nice, and right here across from the Gem restaurant.
Yes,
How's
can't
that?
beat that. Yeah.
So, but tell us, what you do as the Restaurant QB, how the name came about, and what your background is, all that.
So I worked. Longest story is. Worked in college. Before I went to college, my mom managed a bar in my hometown of downtown Altmar, New York.
Okay.
And she managed a couple bars then. So you bar back and you work there and you're a kid and you got food service experience. You cooked. I attended bar. I did everything. I went to college. And when you're in
What'd
college,
you go to college for?
I did not want to work in food service. I wanted to wear a shirt and tie. So I had kind of a strange path. I went to it took me 6.5 years to get my 4-year degree. I lived with a rugby team for a while off campus. I had a hockey team.
Did you have fun?
Off campus. I had an amazing time.
What college? Where'd you go?
Take a breath. I went to SUNY Potsdam, then I went to SUNY Plattsburgh, then I went to Clinton Community College, then I went to OCC, then I went to Oswego, then I went back to Potsdam and graduated.
No kidding.
But I had a great time.
Yeah, I would imagine.
When I got done, I wanted to wear a suit and tie, and the way the story goes, I had a job interview back at the time at Key Bank, and they wanted like an assistant manager trainee job, and this is 1987.
Sure.
So I put my best tie and white shirt on and went in, and they offered me like $13,500 a year. Yeah. Meanwhile, I had food service experience, so Pizza Hut was hiring, and they paid $20,000 a year.
Wow.
So I went and worked at Pizza Hut, then I worked at Ground Around, then I worked for a convenience store chain that was back when C-Store's food service was, you remember in the days when it was a microwavable burrito.
Right, yeah, that was it.
Sears Oil, Tom and Howard Sears are great people out of Rome, New York.
Yeah.
They were the first ones to kind of bring food service into where you made fresh subs, made fresh pizza. I kind of worked with that. I was an area manager for their stores training and stuff. And then my in-laws came into some money. We took some money and bought a place. I had a place in Cicero for a while, had a place in Fulton for a while. Left there, worked for a food distributor for a minute, and then saw an ad in the paper for a true startup company. And real smart guy, John Davey, NYU business grad. He was a true startup, and what his goal was to take the volume of independent restaurants in any given regional area and use it as leverage over suppliers to get a price, like a chain would get. And if you think about it, I use Fran at the Euclid. Fran's a great guy, good friend. As an example, Fran buys Pepsi, so does the Applebee's up the street.
Yep.
It's the same driver, it's the same bag, they're indistinguishable, but clearly Applebee's pays a better price because they rate Euclid Hotel's volume price based on his individual volume.
Sure, which makes sense.
Right,
Which makes sense to them, but at the same time, if you can group that together, which is what we did. So I started with them. They had maybe 60 restaurants. That's the first employee. 17 and a half years later, we had 45,000 restaurants nationally.
Wow. I'm
kind of the restaurant whisperer. I kind of know where the getcha is and how to leverage some buying power to get a good price. They got acquired. We parted ways. They gave me some money not to work anymore. And during that time, a lot of the local restaurant owners here I call personal friends. So, Louis Twin Trees and Jason from Merritt Evans and Kevin from the Dark Horse and Chris from Mimi's would call me and say, hey, man, I got a problem. Can you help? And I kind of helped them. And
So
then
you're like a restaurant coach.
Yes, exactly. So that's where the QB came in.
I see. Yeah,
The
quarterback.
the quarterback kind of manages everything.
Yeah.
How much were chicken wings at the Ground Round when you worked there?
Oh my gosh.
That's what I want to know.
We used to do all-you-can-eat chicken wings.
Tuesday night.
On Tuesday nights
Yes,
for
I remember.
$7.99.
Yep.
We had a guy come in, and the record, I think, was at Ground Round. He ate like 205 wings.
Wow.
And all he drank was water, and he didn't even tip.
No.
So that kind of went
Crazy,
the way. But
yeah,
$7.99.
It was
all you
his
can eat.
reason.
I remember
he
doing
ruined
that.
it for all of us, right, Tom?
Yeah, well, that was the prime of my weightlifting days. So we used to go in for the free wings.
That was the
They
problem
were
of my
great.
wing lifting days.
Yeah.
That was it.
And then, Dan, the Tullys, Dan and Dave and John
Yeah,
Paul.
we know
they
those guys
took all
well.
of those. Dan's a great guy, smartest guy I know. He's way smarter than me. They came in and kind of took those units over, and they've just been super successful.
Yeah,
done a
wonderful.
great
Those
job.
are wonderful. We have Dan in quite a bit.
Yeah.
So who would ask for your services now?
So anybody that's an independently owned restaurant,
okay.
Tully's is independent.
Yeah.
I don't really help Dan. Dan's more of an advisor to me, and he, we bounce questions off each other. But any independent restaurant, if they're going out there, they're just getting taken advantage of in a lot of places because they're not using the leverage of the group.
Yeah.
So I work with 180 local restaurants: Onondaga, Oswego, Cortland County, Madison County.
That's kind of your service area. You
Yeah.
don't go out of state, do you?
No. And most of our, so I have relationships with local suppliers. Brown Carbonic is a local craft soda supplier. Boston's Best is local coffee. Johnson Paper out of Auburn for local paper.
So are you a broker?
I don't know if you'd call I'm more of a consultant. Like with Johnson Paper, I have set pricing that's good for anybody that participates that's part of my group, and they attach them to RQB pricing. And there's
Okay.
an advantage to that because it's lower than typical.
So if they get it through you, they're going to get a better deal, generally speaking.
Correct.
And maybe you said, back up a little, you said, felt like they were taking advantage of. It's just the way business is.
Exactly.
They're not trying to stick it to people. That's just
It's the way it
if
is.
somebody
Yeah.
buys a quart and buys a bazillion gallons, I'm going to give the guy who buys a bazillion gallons a better deal. The quart
Exactly.
just is.
It's the way it is.
But
You're-
you have
you're-
volume, leverage, and buying power.
Yeah, so we can leverage it as a group, and then we've done some great stuff during COVID. Ryan McMahon was a great support of ours. John Mannion, John Katko, and we got together and did events to try to help people get through COVID.
Right.
I was very concerned about my friends' personal health. When you see an orange zone, and then the next week you got to close, and then you can be open till 11. Then you have to sell food.
That's crazy.
These people had it tough.
Well, tell me about this breakfast club.
I saw some. I'm big on Facebook because of my age. I'm not a Grammer or a Twitter or whatever, so I'm on Facebook. I saw a year ago, November, somebody did this thing. I think it was in Texas, where somebody got together with all their buddies and went and had breakfast. Everybody brought a $100 bill. They sat down, had breakfast, and they left the rest for a tip.
Oh,
and I thought, oh, cool. I'm going to be 60. I know it's hard to believe, but I got $100. You got $100. Tom, sure. Steve, you got $100.
If I'm a server, I want to work that day.
Yeah, exactly. But you got $100, so I got my friends together. We picked a place. We told the owner we were coming. We usually have between 12 and 22 people. We go out, people bring $100, and some people bring 50, whatever they can afford.
Yeah.
We get done and we tip. So we've given we've done like 13 of them. We've given out almost $30,000.
Oh, that is
crazy
super
cool.
Fun.
Crazy cool.
Well, that's Bud Laura right there. He is the owner of Restaurant QB, and anybody looking for that kind of consulting, please give him a call and go to his website, restaurantqb.net. It's always a pleasure to talk with you.
Yes, thanks, Tom. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, John Kupperman coming up next, owner of Smith Restaurant Supply, right here on The Local Show on 570 WSYR.
Welcome back to The Local Show, a service of Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts and Geddes Federal Savings and Loan. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show, locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now, here are your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Hello, and welcome back to The Local Show. We appreciate you hanging out with Steve and I from Zoey Advertising. We bring you this thing called The Local Show that we started about 4 or 5 years ago. It's at least 4 or 5 now.
It was actually, it'll be 4 in the spring.
Really? Oh, I thought it was even longer.
It feels longer because you're with me.
Well, yes, that's true. That'll extend anything.
So it'll be 4 years, and it started pre-COVID. Things were rocking.
Yeah.
Down there at the iHeart Studios, and then things grew and switched and came back to our place. And Tom, I don't know. I don't want to go back. I like our place better than theirs.
Well, we do have a nice studio here, and there's always fresh food. And
that's true.
Bathroom facilities and everything.
In that order.
It's very nice. And fresh coffee. All right. It's our pleasure to bring back John Kupperman. He's the owner of Smith Restaurant Supply. SmithRestaurantSupply.com is the website. And how are you, John?
Doing well, thanks.
You know, we were having a discussion.
I know where you're going. Go ahead.
I have been saying for the past, a couple of years that you've been on, Smiths with an S. I thought there was an apostrophe S.
No, I just didn't want to correct you.
You should have corrected me.
Come on, we're all friends. Correct
I know,
away.
but still.
Well, yeah, I was surprised. So, folks, just so you know, it's Smith Restaurant Supply, and his grandfather or great-grandfather was Hyman Smith, right?
It was great.
Not Hyman Smith.
Yeah, right.
Hyman Smith, yes.
Yes, he was so great that he was, a Smith. So, anyway, tell us a little bit about the place. And, we had somebody come in today and it was like, geez, I didn't realize they were still open. Let's dispel that myth.
Please, let's dispel that.
That's a myth.
We've been in business for 128 years. We haven't had a hiccup or
a closure or anything.
Nothing. We did move.
Right.
And I think that confuses people. But no, even during the move, we never closed for a single day.
Right.
Tell people where you are, and just in case there was any confusion, I know there's not, but tell people where you are.
We are in DeWitt.
Yeah.
In DeWitt, directly across the street from the Texas Roadhouse.
Right.
Tell them where you're not.
We are not downtown.
And the iconic building, how long were you there? That's what messes
70 years.
Yeah, 70 years is a long time to be in the same place.
It's so long that, it became, a landmark.
Really a landmark.
At least it doesn't say Smith on it anymore. Oh, yeah, it does.
It does.
Yes, it does. That decision was made when the building was sold. But the good news is that it keeps the name in the community. The bad news is it confuses people.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's no confusion. There is no apostrophe S,
Yes.
so it is
Yes.
Smith. All right. So what do you sell up there? What do you do?
Just about anything that you can find in a household or commercial kitchen, we have.
Okay. Well, I have a beautiful picture sent by Greg Angwin of a 16-inch stainless steel pan that just looks wonderful.
Yeah,
he was
came in
bragging
and
on it.
It was 16-inch fry pan.
Fry pan.
It's as big as they get. I mean, that is just enormous.
And tell me about the stainless steel. Now, do you have to treat that so that things don't stick on it? Because that's not the Teflon, is it?
No. If you treat the pan, you don't need to season it at all.
Okay.
The trick with that type of cookware is you're supposed to get the pan good and hot.
Okay.
Then you add in your butter, oil, wine. Then you put your food in. But the trick is to let the pan get hot.
Gotcha.
And then things right on top of we call it release agent, but on your when you're sautéing, and so it's not sticking and burning to the bottom of the pan.
Why do
So 16-inch. What was he doing that thing?
Well, I
It's a
don't
big
know what he's
pan.
going to do. I told him when he gets done with the chicken marsala to give me a call.
Yeah.
Because that's what
Yep.
you would cook a marsala in. Right?
Sure, it would be perfect for
So
that.
tell me, is the stainless steel just more of an even heat? Is that the idea?
Well, the good thing about stainless steel is it's very durable and it cleans up well, but stainless itself is a lousy conductor of heat.
Oh,
so
I didn't know that.
if you looked at the pan, it's got a disc on the bottom of it
Right.
that has steel and aluminum in it, and that's the part that's conducting the heat.
Gotcha.
Because if you just had a plain old piece of stainless on the burner,
Yeah.
it would be awful.
Now, let me ask you a question, probably unrelated to Smith, but do you prefer gas or electric for cooking?
Most people say gas.
Yeah.
But gas stoves are tougher to clean.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. Yeah.
So you can get the same with both. The thing with the electric burners is they come on and off and on and off.
Yes, they do. Right.
And if you're trying to saute or you're trying to get something done evenly, it's a little tricky. The induction stoves now that are coming along,
Yes.
you dial up the temperature and it is precise.
And it stays there.
And it stays there and it doesn't
like that.
toggle on and off.
I think we're going to have
So
to get one
the-
of those next.
So Tom, did you see my new knives?
No, I didn't know you got knives. Oh, wow.
Yeah, he came
Okay,
in.
so,
yep.
so I don't know
Okay.
if anybody can see it. Those
So-
are my new knives.
Yeah.
that I went out to Smith
Restaurant
Restaurant
Supply.
Supply here a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I said, so you're right. And you had said before, people have these, a dozen, 15 knives. They use 2 or 3 of them or 4 of them.
Sure.
And I was out at my friend's that we go out to, and his knives are all dull and miserable. I go, he goes, I only use 2. It goes to your theory.
Sure.
So I went out there
Yeah.
and said, okay, it's time.
Good.
What should we do?
Yep.
And tell me what I bought. 'Cause
A knife set with 4 knives in it, and a sharpener.
Yeah.
And really that's all you need. It had a chef's knife, a utility knife, bread knife, and a paring knife.
Yeah.
and I'm loving them.
Will they stay sharp for a long time? Unlike
With
some other?
the sharpener that I sold.
Okay.
And
Yeah, the
showed him how to use.
Oh,
and
you
if he
showed
uses
him.
it,
Okay, yeah.
The
they'll stay
sharpener's
sharp.
like $20 and it's going to last forever. It's,
Yeah.
but it has that, it's on a magnetic cutting board too.
Yeah,
so it
those are-
actually just tucks up there.
Nice.
And Judy's like, oh, I didn't know if I liked this. She goes, you know what? I really like that. Because you see it, it's simple.
Right,
You pull it off and it's right there. But I'm
And
enjoying
it's
those.
clean.
And it's clean. That's a really good point.
A lot of knife blocks, they kind of get grungy.
Never thought
and
about
you
that.
can't clean the slots in a knife
Yeah,
block.
and they get dusty and dirty and
Yeah, but this is a magnetic, and you can
How
wipe
should
it
you
off.
take care of knives other than sharpening them? Is there anything else you should do, or are they just
You
get
should really hand wash them.
Okay.
Try to avoid
Don't
the
put them in
dishwasher.
the dishwasher, yeah.
And if you don't have a block, you just don't throw them in a drawer because then they get knocked around and
They do.
everything else.
And the handles will crack and stuff, especially if you put them in the dishwasher.
Sure.
There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I'm not buying. This is it. These are all the lives. I mean, really,
That they really should last,
Should last
forever.
you. Yeah, if you,
right?
I mean, we have knives that we sharpen that people bring in that my grandfather sold them.
No kidding.
Wow.
So I mean, if you maintain good knives,
Yeah.
they're going to last decades.
Right. So up at the store, you have a wide variety of things, but we always talk about the seasonality. We've got Easter just around the corner, and of course springtime. What are you selling a lot of, and what can people get?
Well, right now it's maple syrup season, so a lot of people are coming in and they're getting pans that they can evaporate the sap. And as soon as that is a fun hobby for a lot of folks.
Sure.
Something to do with the kids outside too.
Right. And we got a lot of maple trees.
And the end product is obviously delicious.
Yeah, right.
And so but then you're correct. We're going to be flipping gears here to St. Patrick's Day and Easter.
All right.
Does coffee season slow down as it warms up?
No.
Okay.
Interestingly,
coffee never goes away.
No. It's a constant. Sometimes it picks up in the fourth quarter, for gift giving and the like, but people, they're getting their coffee.
You got any new devices? You got coffee makers, coffee things, or
nothing that sets the world on fire.
No.
But the basics. But we all have to get our coffee.
How often do you roast?
3 times a week.
Okay.
Yeah. So and let people understand what that means really quickly. You're taking the green beans, making them in other words,
you're roasting them.
Yeah, you're roasting them. You're not just taking something that's prepackaged and reselling it.
No, we are roasting it or cooking it. Okay. And then selling the freshest, best coffee in the area.
Excellent. Well, you can get the coffee. You can get your everything from a cheese grater to a knife set, and they even sell knives to Steve, so they'll take care of you.
They did ask for ID.
Yeah, I would imagine. And a police escort. Well, anyway, that's John Kupperman. Ask for him by name. He's helped out a couple of my friends personally, so he will help you out too. Owner of Smith Restaurant Supply. Thank you so much, John.
Thanks as always.
Okay. Coming up next, Christina Farrar. Speaking of syrup, she's an education coordinator for New York State Maple. She'll tell us all about it coming up on The Local Show. Stick around.
Welcome back to The Local Show, a service of Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts and Geddes Federal Savings and Loan. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show, locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now, here are your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Hey, welcome back, and thank you for sticking around for the entire show here. This is The Local Show. That's what you've been listening to, or if you're just tuning in, where have you been?
I don't know.
What the heck you been doing?
Not listening to The Local Show.
No, I know. They must have been doing something else. But, here we are on The Local Show, trying to prepare our minds for spring and be happy and have a little bump in our step, even though these are the doldrums of winter where it's just like, come on already.
I'm with you. But it makes the melt more exciting.
It does, doesn't it?
Right?
Yes.
If every day was spring, then...
What would you have to look for?
I don't know. I'd find something else to complain about.
Although I was talking to my dad the other day down in Georgia, and he said, I was out on the front lawn, and it was 71. And I'm thinking, well, that sounds like a good time.
No, that does sound like a good time. It's a good place. Spring is awesome.
Yeah. He was taking a walk by the stream. He's got a stream right around the corner where you can dunk a line in.
My kind of guy.
Beautiful, yeah. So he's out there, trying to avoid the copperhead
snakes. If I go down there, is he going to be one of those, get out of my lawn, get off my lawn?
If he doesn't know you, forget it.
Okay, I figured.
My father just as soon shoot you in the leg.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. I would expect that from him.
But if he knows you, he'll take you out fishing and all that stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts, they've had a couple of workshops. People are saving all of their assets due to them. Tell us about it.
Well, because people make a plan, they're able to preserve their home and life savings. Everyone knows people that have lost money to nursing home care, or so-and-so didn't get what I wanted. We left the house, but then the medical bills ate it up.
It's terrible.
And when you make a plan, that doesn't happen.
Right.
You can fix it. So, and put it on course. So if you haven't made a plan, by golly, make a plan. Safe Harbor Wills and Trust, as far as I see it, it's the only place to go. That's all they do. It's all they do.
Give us a website.
That would be 370. That's a phone number. That's a phone number. 370-9977. Write that down if you haven't done this yet, and talk to them. 370-9977. You can call. They don't charge for questions. They'll talk to you, and it's safeharborwillsandtrust.com, Tom.
You got it. Well, it's our pleasure to bring on somebody new to the show. Christina Farrar is the education coordinator for New York State Maple, and she manages the big Maple Experience experience the mobile classroom trailer. You can see all about the Maple Weekends that are just around the corner at mapleweekend.com. Go to mapleweekend.com and find out the dates. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me, Tom and Steve.
Well, thank you so much for being here and for being Italian. We like that.
Here we go.
We welcome Italians on the show.
We can gang up on Steve.
Yeah, that's right.
You wouldn't be the first.
So tell us a little bit about your background. Where'd you come from and how'd you get into this business?
Well, I grew up in Rome, New York, so I'm a local person to Central New York. And I'm a forester. I went to forestry school to learn how to take care of the trees and forests that make up such a huge part of New York State.
Which school did you go to?
I went to UMass Amherst. I was living in New England at the time, so I got my forestry degree at UMass, although I'm all about ESF.
Yeah, sure.
And I had a special interest in maple production from the time I was going through school, and I tried to stay connected to the maple industry, both in New England when I was working there. I spent some time at UNH Cooperative Extension, and then I got a job back here in Syracuse. I wanted to come home like so many people eventually do, as the forestry educator for Cooperative Extension in Onondaga County. And here I was really able to connect to the Maple Producers Association, which is in Central New York, and the Cornell Maple Program, because we're very close and they do a lot of research. And I tried to bring beginners workshops and maple education in through the Cooperative Extension.
Nice.
So you're into it.
I'm into it.
Yeah, you know about
You're
this.
into it.
I'm into it.
So Maple Weekends.
Yes.
So tell us what that's all about.
So Maple Weekends are the most wonderful time of year for people who want to get out, break the monotony of being trapped inside in winter, and visit a neighbor. You'll probably have a neighbor on the map that has a Maple Weekend, or you might want to take a little drive. But maple producers all over the state have open houses during Maple Weekend, which are 2 weekends, the 18th and 19th, the 25th and 26th. They have all different kinds of family activities. Some have pancake breakfasts. And there are samples and yummy things to purchase and a lot to learn. So get out of the house and visit a neighbor.
So all the participating farms are at mapleweekend.com?
Yes,
and there's
they
a really
are.
interesting map there.
A huge map.
And you can see,
really,
where, and if maybe you want to go to 3 farms, go here and then over there and visit them. It is a great experience. It feels like it's in the Wayback Machine, Tom.
It does.
You go there and people just.
And when you pull up, you can smell the sugar evaporating, the sugar houses. That's kind of cool. Are the trees any different in New England as we go up, toward Boston and all that? Is there more or less sap that runs, or is Syracuse a real? Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Well,
at all?
it kind of depends on the season. So you can tap any tree that's in the maple genus. So Acer is the genus that maples are in. But of course, sugar maples have the sweetest sap, and that's why.
How can you tell a sugar maple by just looking at it?
You can tell a sugar maple by looking at the branching structure. So maples have opposite branching structure. Sugar maples have a very characteristic leaf that we say is palmately structured.
Well, can you describe it? What does that look like?
Yeah, it sort of looks like it has. I'm trying to not use. Jargon, but it has lobes, 3 lobes, and 2 small lobes at the bottom.
Okay.
And if you're a hockey fan and you watch Canada.
Is that what it looks like? A Canadian maple leaf?
It closely resembles the Canadian maple leaf. Yes.
Yeah. And a lot of times, if you get close to one of the sweet maple trees, they'll talk to you that way. And they'll be like, "Hey, honey, your eyes look nice."
We just had John Kupperman on from Smith Restaurant Supply, and he sells maple supplies. People for their own. If they have some land and have some trees, and they're doing it even as a hobby, right?
Yes. So maple producers come in all shapes and sizes, and it's a hugely growing industry. We have the most maple trees in New York State in the Northeast.
Nice.
So there's a lot of potential for expansion, but getting started is easy. Like Smith's, as you said, has supplies. Lots of hardware stores have basic maple supplies. Even if you have one maple tree in your yard, you can dabble in maple production, and that's kind of how it gets started. And
very nice.
Once you get bitten by the
go
bug.
So go to the weekends, the 18th and 19th, the 20th, 25th, and 26th, mapleweekend.com.
Well, Christina, will you have the big trailer at one of these places so that people can get educated? Or?
The trailer takes Maple weekends off.
Okay. Okay.
Because it goes to the schools.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And I will be hitting the road with the trailer again on the 20th.
Okay, good.
And starting the spring school season.
And she drives that thing, Tom.
Very nice.
She drives that. It's impressive.
Yes.
Christina, it's great to meet you, and you have a great rest of the day, okay?
Thank you so much.
Okay. Steve, that's going to wrap up the local show. Can you believe it? Another one down.
I can believe it.
Excellent. Well, you get out and do whatever it is you do.
I'll do it without you.
Anything?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
All right. On behalf of the local show, Zoey Advertising, and Tom and Steve, God bless you and your families. Get some vigorous activity every day and make it a point to help someone who might be struggling, maybe somebody who's less fortunate than you. Do that this weekend. The local show is heard every Saturday morning from 11 to 1 and then again on Sunday morning from 7 to 9. Listen together with a friend. Until next week, get down to business and keep doing business locally. Tell your friends about the local show right here on 570 WSYR, 106.9 FM, the iHeartRadio app, and on YouTube at Zoey Advertising.